Alright, hello everyone. Welcome in. We're gonna have a few sets of Gold and Silver League to cast today. We're gonna start with Valas versus Villese. And a couple other sets that were played today. Let me see if I can grab these. There's also then Duzu versus Stone, please. Do we have these wrecks somewhere? I don't see these wrecks. I'll have to grab them from the dashboard. Both all the way down in the V. This, grab those, throw them in my rec folder, nice and easy. Clean out my rec folder too. We'll have a few sets today, but this will be our starting point in Valas Villese, so that's a great place to start. What is our base tagging me for? It's a round 4 set. Our base is in the chat. There he is. Didn't even upload those recs yet. That's okay, RBS just downloaded them. I played earlier today, you didn't upload them. It's lacking. I'll sit around for a few minutes because Twitch is going to play an ad. But Reverse Acropolis will be game 1. Villese's home map will be African River, and Valas's home map will be Quarry. I'm also slowly but surely making overlay updates. Oh, they were meant to be private, but you were on the train and forgot to tell them. Oh, okay. Okay. So I saw them played earlier and I was like, oh, I'll cast these. It was also on the schedule, I think. Oh, thank you very much for the sub.
Highwaymen preying on helpless travelers. What has become of our homeland?
What has become of our homeland? Gotta love a good old show of our campaign. Thank you very much for using your Prime sub. We have an insane number of subs right now. We're very close to 400, honestly, which would be a crazy number to hit. I don't know if we'll get there, but we're close to it. I have my water and I have my 3rd coffee of the day. So hopefully we're all set for this. Now that you use your Prime sub, you don't have to sit through this annoying ad break. Great. So this is my plan. I'm going to move the webcam to the bottom left. I'll readjust the draft so everything fits on one row. And I'll stretch the scoreboard across the stream. Is it so low on YouTube? I just absolutely hate ads. I'd disable it on Twitch if I could too. The only reason I do them on Twitch is because it makes me play 3 minutes of ads every hour to disable pre-rolls. And I figure if I'm going to play them anyway, I could do them all manually, but if I turn on the auto manager, then it gives me a 55% split instead of a 30% split. So I figure if I'm playing anyway, there's no reason not to do that. I just prefer having YouTube as the option so that people don't have to have ads. Alright, so I think we're all set then. We're past the ads. I made the announcement on Discord. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. And let's get into this. Villese versus Valas. Game 1 on Reverse Acropolis. And you're ready to see the new overlay stuff I've been doing? Look at this. Bam. Let me make sure that shows up in OBS. There, down at the bottom, the mouse cursor will disappear down there. But I got, oh my gosh, I need to set the name properly. Hold on, I need to set the name. I need to actually change my overlay. Reverse Acropolis. And that should do it. There we go. That does it. Reverse Acropolis there with the author's name. I got the map author on the overlay. Boom. More Reverse Acropolis. Who is on YouTube or Twitch? Just it doesn't really matter to me. If you want to do a membership on YouTube, you can pick the price you want to do. Twitch, I think, is a fixed price per country. Oh, I need to actually turn my audio on to my headphones. So many buttons I have to click. The best way to support is actually Patreon, because I get the best cut there if you want to do like a monthly support, like a sub or a membership or whatever. Stick production value. Yeah, now I just need to actually type stuff in every time. Yes, these are recorded games from earlier today. And from here on out, I think keeping the logo down by the minimap will get it so it doesn't block the screen. Webcam blocks enough already. And then we'll put the map name along with the author there. And that'll be every game. We'll just have to remember to type that in. Soon I'll be updating, I'll get flags for the players, and I'll get unique units for the scoreboard. Maybe I'll get the mouse cursor bigger properly. So we'll do things, hopefully every stream we get a little bit more done. Yeah, so ads on Twitch, I honestly don't even pay attention to the ad revenue. The money from subs usually dwarfs that. So my goal is to keep that as minimal as I can. But anyway, here we have a Reverse Acropolis, and we'll have Valas as the green Georgians to the northwest, Villese as the blue Persians to the southeast. I did set the map up. I removed a tiny bit of some of the randomness we had with maps where players would spawn directly in the corners. We had some cases where they'd only have 5 or 6 tiles on the edge of the map where they could wall to, and we wanted to make it more consistent they could wall to the edge. So we've done that here. Still a good bit of randomness to where your TC spawns within the valley, to how the valley spawns on the map, where all the resources are at the top. And I also made it so that relics do not spawn directly in the corners. It'll be more towards the middle now. And good morning, Phoenix. Adding Nessie every 50 hours in the webcam box. Pond is too big. Pond is too small for Nessie, actually. You add her even directly in the middle. Her animation takes her onto the land. And if we're going to do Nessie, we're not going to do her dirty like that. We're not going to have a land Nessie. Put her in her natural habitat of waters. Maybe we'll use her outside of Loch Ness, but we got to be judicious where we use Nessie. Oh, and Monaspa, love the overlaid changes. Thank you for the sub for 9 months.
Lord Nobunaga is in Kyoto. We must rescue him to restore his honor.
I hope you guys do still enjoy the campaign quotations. I will still at some point get little videos added for the alerts, because I've been enjoying those quite a lot. And here we have an Ibex pushed in. Only a few people see it, and everyone else thinks they're going insane. What I was thinking of doing for Nessie was, like I said, her animation's too large, so I couldn't fit her here. I was going to add her with like a 10% chance of spawning, so every game you'd have to check and see if she's there or not. So she wouldn't be there every game, it'd be random. Like spread butt cheeks with the pond in the middle. That's what someone called evacuation, it was called butt cheeks, because of the little indent in the back of the island you started on. I don't see that as much here. Evacuation, I definitely saw it. People taking the side woods? I'm fine with that. Do you not want side woods, Arbase? Because the map could give you side woods before. Oh, and T90, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome in, everyone. Here we are casting Valas Villese. Apparently, Arbase told me that this set was supposed to be played privately as Rex, but then he was on the train and forgot to tell the players that, so they played it, and now I'm casting it. So welcome in, everyone. Thank you, Breb, for the follow. So we have Valas here. These are the green Georgians to the northwest. Villese, the blue Persians to the southeast. And we have our two V... Actually, wait. I need to add the flags, chat. I need to add the flags. They're both... We can't have a Finland mirror matchup without the Finnish flags. Thank you, Bear Gwyn, for the sub. Let me get my headphones
An
on.
army of rams? How quaint.
Best campaign quotation. Varion's gonna let us finish. Thank you, Varion. You always need Varion's confirmation. So Valas will be walling himself up, and we'll have a house and palisade wall going across the front of his base. Looks to use these wood lines to wall to the side. Of TTS? Well, it's campaign quotations. Yeah, I play a random quotation every sub. Hello, Eric. And it'll be scouts opening from both players. Persians trying to use their eco. Persians, Georgians, a matchup. I feel Persians and Georgians were maybe, not that they're bad at the map, but more appropriate when there were still the shorefish to fight over in the middle. I guess it just shows you how good of a pair of civs these are if we remove the fish and players are still picking them. So forward range from Valas. Going forward at the top of the hill. Whatever you're supposed to officially call that, T90 unofficial, thank you. Surprised we haven't seen the Hindustani spammed more. We have seen a couple of Hindustani games in the TTL sets so far. Here the spear will be poking the scouts, pushing them back, and they'll have to run away. So both players trying to claim the wood lines at the top. I did make it so the wood lines on the pond are a bit smaller than the ones that are farther away, since these ones are guaranteed to be in the front. The trade-off if you go there and you know they're always up there. That you won't necessarily have the longest time to spend shopping. And hello, Sinulia, over on YouTube chat. Yeah, I know. Everyone coming from T90's chat, when he tells YouTube that they smell, he'll be doing it live now. That's always been moving over to the good side of YouTube. YouTube dubs does smell. They smell good though. So blacksmith for Valas is he's going for more archers, and Villese going to use both wood lines and wall himself in. I didn't think about doing this, but yeah, you certainly can. You get a gold guaranteed by the pond, so if you can use the woods to wall by it, you do have a safe gold. Probably not as safe as the ones down at the bottom though. So different approaches to walling. Villese deciding he's going to wall up by the pond, whereas Valas is staying completely safe at the bottom of the hill. Now, we saw Doubt doing this earlier, where Doubt was the Georgians, and he stayed at the bottom of the hill and is set against fire, and he was able to use the fortified churches pretty well to defend. And if you can stay here, stay safe, and get the economy rolling, you can have a really strong mini-boom before trying to press out and then take the top. I've also seen the Way played on this map a few times, where getting a castle in the middle with Tiger Cav leads to controlling all the golds up here. That's a nice wall-in. And the scouts will pick a spear. Only one scout goes down. And Valas just trying to avoid a direct fight when he has fewer units. Vietnamese has a word for smell, which means good smell, and a word for bad smell. Helps to avoid this kind of confusion. So blacksmith for Villese. And I do worry about the diagonal gate at the bottom of the hill. I feel that Villese will punch through that really quickly if he's able to take the hill at the front. And Valas does have to worry about overchops. I think Arbase was typing in the chat in T90 stream. I don't know if T90 acknowledged it. But we did alter the map just a tiny bit from the earlier rounds of gold and silver, where we have the same total number of trees at the bottom, but we redistributed them so they're in fewer clumps with more trees per clump. And that means your lumber camp lasts an extra tree or two. And punching through the gate here, exactly the weak spot, and there's a Vill going down. Villese wants to get through and then push Valas off the gold. Now, Valas has his ranges, double ranges at the top of the hill, but didn't take either of his golds. So he desperately wants not to lose too much more map control on the bottom. He's walled another gold almost out. He could probably take that with the mule cart. But now he has to resort to some house walling. There won't be a hill bonus here, but it still will be not finished and not much HP. Are they stuck? They're not stuck, Arbase. They can run out here. They're fine. They can get out. Well, maybe not with the archers behind them. Maybe now it's a trap. But they'll get away. Our base getting hyped up for nothing. And Villese again have to worry about overchops. With the archers coming home, Valas should always have a hill bonus if he's able to keep the archers on the hill. Could have jumped the archers, would be tricky when they had a hill bonus though. Maybe now he can jump them when they're on level ground. The scouts only have armor, so no bloodlines, but I don't think he wants to jump without bloodlines. That's risky, but probably you would love to clear archers in the feudal age before they become crossbows. Maybe you want to keep your scouts alive for light cav though. And now Valas doing the same thing with the woodlines, walling up in the middle of the map. As the archers will just almost kill that villager, but on 3 HP, he'll try to run away. Oh, and this is Villese. Will he dive through the gate? He will not. He will not. That gate will close. Is that closed? I think that's closed. Yeah, it is. Okay. The graphics on this diagonal are hard to see if it's open or closed. Maybe I should do that for a map script one day. Have a gate that's held open just to debate the players. Should be able to build water towers? You can mod that so players can build sea towers. Yeah, it's visible on top, but you really gotta be looking for it. And that'll force up a defensive tower from Valas. He does not want to lose that gold access. And he wants to keep the one on the side safe. But with all this forward pressure from Villese, he is up now 5 villas of the Persians, a 10k resources collected lead. And I think things are looking pretty rough for Valas. They're maybe pretty close in castle timing. I think you turbo for the follow. Late tower always lose stuff, especially if your vills are hit while trying to tower. Valas has lost so much by being stubborn and not dropping a tower. Yeah, maybe he could have done the tower. It always feels bad to do the late tower, because if you had done the tower earlier, you probably take much less damage in total. And he's still amassing more archers, and he'll have a good number to go for crossbows, 12 of them right now. And he does click up, but not as fast as the Persians with that faster working TC. And the vills from Valas. Forced off of the woodline as Villese keeps up the pressure. There is now an overchop, and Valas is open on the side. He's gonna market wall. Lose stuff in half to tower. Yep. Stealing your chats. You just gotta spam the chat more, and then we don't have anything to steal. If everyone types the same idea, and no one claims ownership. Alright, depending on your lag, the chat messages can appear in different orders. The Castle Age Horse Collar on the way for Valas. Hello, sentient sloths. Team Room, it was yours? Ah, okay. Thanks for the clarification. And so far, so good for Villese. Forward ranges, he's gonna go for Elite Skur. Will he go Cav Archers with the Persians? Probably will. Everyone loves Cav Archers these days, regardless of Civ. Villese, not fully walled, but mostly walled. And Skirm's pushing the low HP Vills back. Valas up to the Castle Age, Bodkin crossbow for him. If no units run through, he's walled. There's a hole in your wall and no one's around to see it. Are you actually walled? And crossbows here for Valas will now pressure the middle woodline. Villese will do a TC. Now he has enough elite skirms that he should be able to push up back the crossbows, and that TC goes up. Both players TCing the middle. Okay, that's some aggressive middle control. Might see a fortified church from Valas at the front of the TC. That should stop a Mangonel push from Villese. Is it like Schrodinger's wall? Yeah, we won't know whether there's a hole in it until we observe it. Yeah, you gotta scout the walls to know. Oh, meanwhile, Villese is actually getting through. He is through with light cav and skirms, and Valas is trying. He's trying his best to wall up. I'm worried those light cav get in. He's gonna have to run off that wood line, and that TC's already filled. 45 vills, 23 of whom are idle, and the light cav pushing through. Some of the vills in the back are low HP. Villese with a nice raid, and Valas is scrambling now. He is scrambling. He's trying to stay on wood, but now he has to clean skirms with crossbows. That never feels good. Maybe focus the light cav. The vills, they're back to work on that wood line, trying to wall themselves again. Valas under a lot of pressure now. In the middle, the TC does go up, but some skirms are harassing it. Those vills are idled too now. Finally, he's clearing this. And those crossbows have to run away. That's why you play open on open maps. Well, you make a good point. You do make a good point. Skirm's attacking the Vil. She's low HP, but she'll get back to the TC. And the crossbow's still trying to clean this up. Just a couple of skirms now coming around the front of the base. Elite skirms, adept at picking off Vils. No ballistics, so that Vil will be safe. And the skirms should push everything back here. Villese indeed looks at the top in 2026, back to top 16. Top 16 is still lower than where he used to be. Even if he maybe can get there. I don't know if he's quite at that level, though. He did lose his set the other day. So, Knight will push the skirms back. A couple of Knights for Valas. Only +1 armor, no bloodlines, no attack upgrades. And Villese might still try to dive to chase crossbowmen here. No one going for a third TC. Villese adding in a Knight. And Valas finally getting the fortified church at the front. But there's a Knight there to harass Vils, idle them as it's going up. And some of them very low on HP. He will try to... Oh my god, that goes up so fast. Fortified churches are built so fast. I'm like, maybe the Knight can harass something. No, it doesn't have the time for that. And Georgians repair their fortified churches. Repair buildings cost minus 25%. This is less than... Same HP as a town center, but less than 1/5 the wood to repair it. So you can repair that forever and stop the mangonels. You don't like skirms being able to sit under towers? Towers and TCs. At least they have a minimum range so they can't turn and attack the tower. I always thought skirms maybe need to have a minimum range of 2 rather than 1. And maybe increasing the minimum range just a bit would make them less OP. Still effective against crossbows, but less so against men-at-arms or swordsmen or knights, where they really should have a weakness. Right now, if you have a big group of skirms, then getting to melee range doesn't matter because the ones in the back still hit you well enough. Does cut the DPS a bit from the ones in the front, but it's only one range that they can't throw. So Knights of the Vils have to run back to the church. And the mangonel push continuing in the middle, but you'll see how little wood is spent repairing this. Look at that wood count going down. It's barely moving the needle with 7 Vils repairing. And Juancho2181, thank you for the follow. And Valas will just call the GG there. He's taken way too much damage at home. And that church hit by the mangonels. The only thing you can do there is repair. And everything else falling apart for him. So Villese with a good game 1 victory. GG. Impressive showing there for game 1. That's a 45 to 38 KD for him. As far as eco is concerned, that's almost 7,000 res ahead. And And faster castle time, too. So the Persians and their earlier eco paying off on this map. Valas tried to play very defensively, and he got punished for the diagonal palisade gate. And hello, Jafar. Let's see, what do we have here? That's a win for Villese. Mark him as a win for game 1 on Reverse Acropolis. And for the Civs, that's the Georgians losing to the Persians. And Villese went for Byzantines with his first overall pick. So if you're just tuning in, African River is the home map for Villese, Quarry the home map for Valas. We were not blessed with Costa Arena this set. Villese banned the clown maps. Oh, Villese. Look at Valese's bans. Bypass, Coastal Arena, Zimbabwe, Tulo. Villese saying, I'm not playing any of the clown maps. Has the Max returned? I think the Max still plays team games, but I haven't seen him play 1v1s in a while. I would think Villese would be a pretty good clown. Viper versus Vivi will be postponed. Valas picked Quarry last time, why not ban it? Well, we'll see why not. Maybe Villese has a plan for it. Alright, here we go. Oh, but I need to update the map name. This is Quarry. I'll type that in. And you'll see I added the name of the map author down there, the original author. I edited the final version of all the maps that we use for this, but the author I put down there so we can all know who created the maps. Is the Y off of the edge of the screen? It is, isn't it? Ah, overlays. Let me fix this. Don't want to have any Y's off the edge. Move that slightly. Let's see. Is that too far over? There. Now it fits. All right. Now we're good. Now we're good. Were the maps where it was difficult? No, it's not. No. These are all maps that are pretty well known. If there were a map where it's difficult to track down the original author, then 1, they're probably not around, and 2, we probably don't know the map. So deaKer getting pushed in by Villese. He'll be the Saracens. Okay. So Saracens pretty good at pushing with archers through palisade walls on this map. And Villese will be the Ethiopians. Interesting late game setup. Good siege from both of them. Counterweights versus torsion engines. Counterweights more attack for the Mangonel line and for Tribs. Torsion engines for the Ethiopians than the splash damage. Are Ethiopians too one-dimensional? I really like Ethiopians. I think they're a civ that feels like they have a lot of tools that feel good on paper, but maybe aren't quite as strong as you think at first. And I think they're pretty well balanced. Maybe slightly overtuned as a team game flank, but otherwise I think they're great. They have late game options, and they have different ways to play the late game with either earlier imp arbs or a later imp heavy siege. But then they also lack powerful melee units. Showtails are glass cannons and don't have the HP of, say, a paladin or some other unique units. And certainly not the same as a Mamluk from the Saracens. Royal Era's heavy camel is a is a trap. I've seen it used successfully sometimes, but yeah, I don't think it really makes up for the lack of bloodlines completely. They can pull some crazy FC strats with Showtails and Rams. We did see a crazy FC on Bypass. In, I forget, was it Gold League? I forget if it was Gold or Silver, but Wide. Wide picked the Ethiopians. Basically pulled off a 19-pop feudal, then went Loom and Avil to go up. So 19 plus 2 up timing. And then went immediately for rams and scorpions. It was a thing of beauty. And it stopped a Kuman boom. I hate that you have to push deer. Automod also doesn't like that, apparently. But yeah, lots of deer on this map. We have seen the Mongols picked rather popularly for it. We have quite a few maps with extra hunt, so the Mongols, if not banned, will be a very high pick. Is the map called Pokeball? It's called Quarry, but if you want to call it Pokeball, you can. On the sides, we do have these reeds. 50 wood for each reed. 5 villagers chop through that in one go. I think you can fit at most 4 vills chopping, unless you do some type of phosphoro hack stack to stack them up. You can also control right-click on a non-wood resource to force drop the resource and have 1 vill chop through repeatedly. We have seen a couple of players chop through and sneak. You can wall behind this. There's no rock terrain there, so you can wall behind it. And then a few palisades for Valas heading towards the TC. Your berries also always are forward on this map, so while you can wall yourself in, you have to go a bit more forward to keep the berries safe. The walls are also uphill. One of the bugs I fixed was sometimes the cracked terrain would end up on the hill up here and weaken the walls. So now I fixed that so it's even everywhere. Did I make these maps? As I said, the original author's down there on the bottom left, but I did edit every map before putting it into the mod we used officially for this event. So all the remaining bugs are my fault. All the creativity in the map is for the original author. Quarry's one of the older maps, I think. We had it for Hidden Cup 5, where we had reused it from an earlier event. You can tell the style of who scripted which map. Hank does a lot of things in land generation. Rosini's maps have very distinct terrain or object generation in them. The Mad Catter developed a lot of tools he used for maps, such as Circle Arena. Or Inundation, where you can see the results of the Badlands utility in his work. And still pushing the deer is Valas. There will be a bit of a scouts fight, and it's close enough to the mill. The vills will just hunt it there. The deer in the middle should be pretty well balanced, too. I did spend quite some effort trying to make sure there were the same number of deer per player and spread decently throughout the middle. And it'll be militia for Valas that can't quite break in, but can't help to fight the spear, especially with the archer coming forward. And I'm sure they'd love even more than the spear to get hits on the scout as another scout hits that scout. And very low HP scout now for Villese. Vilcant's the same. Res collected pretty similar. And Blacksmith for Villese, and as the Saracens, he's starting to go pretty heavily onto gold, and you always have to keep an eye out for that Saracens market and see, will he click up? Will he? Ooh, Vil there, could fight the Scout. Yeah, does get a poke on the Scout, not much HP left there. So Blacksmith for Valas. Will Villese prioritize the market? There is the first market, that'll serve as part of a wall, and also as a market. He might sell the stone and simply try to buy his way up. He hasn't built a single farm yet. Vala's trying to add in the farms. And this can actually be a trap if you spend too much time pushing deer and think that your build is cleaner than it really is. You might delay your farms too long. So there are the first 2-3 farms for Villese. A finished showdown to start the day. Well, for Soxy's day. Soxy's in Australia. Everyone who just watched Platinum probably just watched 3 sets, but now it's time for the gold and silver sets that happened also today. Love TTL, but one of your gripes is seeing the same civs over and over. And Will to Weep, thank you for the follow. Yeah, different hosts have different priorities in how they do civ drafts. I think T90 likes fewer bans than I usually do. I think the map system is pretty good, how we have a combination of picks, bans, and then the random pick for the first map. I think the map pool is also pretty good. Maybe missing some nomad maps other than Stranded. And Kashunga Hard, thank you for the follow. Time to make a pizza? I always will say yes to pizza. Saracens have good answers against Ethiopians. This should be a good game. Well, the Skirms right now answering the archers, and it will push Valas back towards his base. Valas doing a market. Valas has already sold the stone. And Logical Lewis, thank you for the follow. I've heard Lewis is the GOAT these days. I saw he fish boomed on Mudflow earlier. So market for Valas, and how far are these players? Valesa already sold his stone and bought 200 food. And he is committing pretty heavily to feudal now. He is far away from Imp, even with that much gold as the Saracens. I mean, from Imp, from Castle. Very far from Imp. Far away from Castle. And I'll have to put a house up by the lumber camp. As Valas will do houses and try to wall out the skirms. Push the Vills back. I'm losing a bit of HP. And Castle Age on the way for both of them, but the Saracens player using the market even more up more slowly. Yeah, that hurts to see the Saracens so slow. And Horse Collar on the way for Villese. So all those, oh, he was so late to add farms and didn't even have Horse Collar. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts. These farms are going to run out very quickly. It's 175 food instead of 250. So it's quite a big difference. And so far, so good for the walling for Valas. House taking a couple of hits. And only on one range, committing more to archers. Wants to have faster firing archers once he's up, and still going archers versus skirms. This Castle Age is almost there. But will be a palisade gate for Villese, making sure he can send his archers in and out with the gate. Town Watch and Castle Age for Valas, who, with all this pressure, immediately has to go for a workshop. He'll do 1 TC there. But the workshop, did he sell stone earlier? He sold his stone on the way up. The other option would be University for ballistics or buying stone for a 3rd TC. But it'll be Mangonel defense for him from that workshop. Doesn't have too many archers himself. On the sides, some skirms for Villese, scouting a bit. Town Watch, extra important on this map if you don't wall the sides. I've not seen players really use the sides yet. They've all played it as a closed map. And this is supposed to be a more closed type of map. Oh, the Mangonel doesn't shoot right away. Villese backs off. Backs off. Buying wood, doing elite skirm, doing wheelbarrow and bowsaw. And a bit later on his TC, but not too far behind. The bill counts are still the same. And Valas, there we go, buying stone and doing the 3rd TC. So the workshop and the Mangonel do slow that down ever so slightly. Villese, that's a couple of skirms dead to the Mangonel. Could have been worse. They did about face into the shot. More skirms don't want to move in there. Map is closed for optimal clowning. Yes. You like the blue-green color dominance on the screen? Yeah, that's true. Lots of blue and greens blending with the map. And heavy plow for Valas. Skirms try to dodge. And the dip underneath the Mangonel shot. Mangonel split on the archers, doesn't get a hit. It goes down, and the archers are chased away. Chased away by the skirms. And Villese with the skirms, still controlling the middle, not letting Villese get any presence forward, but he keeps running into Mangonel shots here and there. And that can't be good for him. No ballistic, so it will be hard to catch the scout with a good volley of javelins. But still prepared to defend with his own mangonel. The split doesn't run too far forward. Does Valas see the mangonel? He must have seen it there for a moment. And still only feudal age archers. They have bodkin, but he hasn't done crossbow. So extra vulnerable to the mangonel shot with less HP. And a mangonel on the hill doesn't quite destroy the other mangonel. And the repair vills are coming forward. Is this live? Nope, these were wrecks. They were played earlier today. So archer sniped by the mangonel. And outpost for Villese, does he have town watch? No town watch for him, but the outpost will help the mangonel fight. Always good to have vision of where your opponent's mangonels are. And that town watch, Ethiopian's outpost, +3 line of sight, no stone, how's town watch? Oh, Valas sees everything. Valas sees absolutely everything there is in the middle. And he has been booming. Slateville lead. We'll finally have the third TC for Villese. And he will lose a mangonel. The other mangonel takes almost no damage. And the skirms now have to run away. Both players trying to use the edge of this crater. And mangonel shot gets right between the other two. Has to dodge a bit. Another mangonel for Villese. Starts maybe to take a mangonel lead in the middle. Valas' mangonel slowly but surely being whittled down by the skirms, and this mangonel uphill survives the shot. And Villese taking middle control, down by 10 vills with the slower TCs, and that'll be a 4th TC added in for Valas as the quick gate on the vills will try to protect the archers. And the outposts going down. Villese trying to play William Wallace and destroy the outposts. Always good to destroy them in the mangonel war. We saw how much vision that gives. And you see, Villese, it's kind of hard to keep track of where the enemy mangonels are. This outpost suddenly means no more vision in the middle for Valas. Games are live, but chat is recorded. Maybe we could do the opposite. Games recorded, but chat is live. Oh, wait. That's what's happening. And this is just a palisade behind the house. That won't be too sturdy, and Villese, using the top of this hill around the outside, will be able to break through the palisade and raid if he wants to. Has a few more skirms that are coming forward. And he'll do his own outpost. More than happy to have a raiding avenue, though. And it still is only feudal age archers. Oh. Okay, maybe Villese wants to open the opening more. Oh, don't stack 2 mangonels like that. That worries me. That worries me. Ooh, gets the mangonel and survives. Commentary is recorded. Maybe the commentary is live, but it's just AI generated. Oh, don't RG in your own skirms. Okay, they get in. They get in safely. It's fine. Our base believes. And another defensive workshop from Valas, who is going to be pumping 2 workshop mangonels for the moment. Who's along to crossbow? He was focusing on defending in walls and focusing on his eco. He's delaying the upgrade as long as he can until he actually needs it to fight. Now that the knights are coming out, he will need the crossbows to protect the mangonels. Another house for Villese. As a Vill runs down to the woodline, and a couple of skirms chase around the outside. Split between the mangonels. And Vill repairing as the mangonel shot comes forward. Mangonel hitting the skirms, and thank you BS17618 for the follow. And oh, nice pick on the repair Vill, the skirms. Can they finish the mangonel? The mangonel shot can. And now Valas losing quite a bit. But knights from Villese, and knights won't defend mangonels from other knights. Even if you would win the fight. Ooh, maybe they will. Maybe they will. The Vill can repair enough. Wait just a minute. The Vill can repair enough. Okay, only 1 mangonel down. I thought that was going to be much worse. But Imp Yes, indeed, Valas did want to focus on the faster imp as he is clicking up, and with a 20 Vil lead. And Villese will have to make this pressure count. Saracens can't really push with siege at this point with how well defended Valas is, and they don't have the crossbow numbers to use their attack bonus to punch through buildings or walls. 4 TCs are hard to pressure. They're covering all the resources. Wood on the outside, 2 TCs on stone. This mining camp's in the back behind the TCs, so nothing wants to raid. And there's a defensive castle from Valas. And maybe a few showtails clean this up. Getting to stay on archers and add a few showtails. We'll see if he thinks about adding in the armor. Now, Villese himself up. He's only going to be 30 seconds behind, but also 20 Vils behind. So he is 30 seconds of imp timing and 20 Vils enough against Saracens who will have the market. If it goes long, there are 3 relics in the middle, and then 1 relic on each side. So if you're Villese, maybe you think about grabbing the relics and getting up to 4 relics for a long game. Or even if you scout that this is empty, you could chop and try to take the relic. Maybe the outpost sees you, though. Both players also know outposts, know anything on the other side of the map. They are maybe going to be surprised. As we'll have a 25-second difference in imp timing, and we'll see what Valas does immediately when he's up. Adding a monastery. Ethiopians don't have the best monks. They will lack redemption and block printing. And that feels like it's more for the relic than anything. There he's up, and instantly we see chemistry. Chemistry will unlock the bombard cannon. Both of these are bombard cannon civs. Now, that's a farm, that's not a crossbow. So Villese up to amp Bracer and Chemistry. So both players investing to the archer lines. Villese, though, will be doing the skirms. Hope we get torsion engines. I hope we get torsion engines, siege onagers versus counterweight siege onagers. That would be a lot of fun. Both players doing their unique siege onagers. Siege onager does counter everything. If you mic with them properly, they do. Sometimes the more lag there is, the less melee units can be microed to avoid them. But I'm guessing both these players should have very little lag, both being from Finland. I also did see there was another server added. I saw a Heart posting about it. It was a Chilean Central server for the South American players. And I guess that should serve the DLC well. Oh, there's a Central US server. Nice, I could have used that years ago when I was living in Wisconsin. Playing on the peer-to-peer HD and Voodoo networks. South Central US. So, like, Texas. Okay, Skirm versus Arb. Those Arbs are patrol stacked, and they take out the Mangonel. Ooh, that Mangonel seemed like it took a long time to shoot. Maybe that was Villese spam clicking and it got stuck in the reload. Atlanta is not central. It is south, but definitely not central. There's T90. T90 casted Platinum today. And then he went to probably enjoy the beach. Me here in Jersey, I'm stuck with snow outside, so I got nothing to do but cast Age of Empires. And again, Skirm versus Arb. The Skirms do have all their armor upgrades. It feels like they're not quite pushing the way they'd like to against the Ethiopians. There's another stack. Repairs on the bombard cannon are clutch against the Skirm. This Treb will maybe need some repairs too. Alright, that Treb gets hit by a cannon. And Vala's still holding. Villese trying to push. He still hasn't taken any relics, not taking advantage of the map control in the middle to grab them. I moved to Texas to get a better ping to South Central US. I like my ping to East US. I also like the time zone here better. for streaming. More in line with Europe. And skirms, the skirm numbers are falling. Valas will lose a TC, but he has a much higher Vil count, that boom paying off for him, and he's also outposting the side. Maybe you could think of chopping through to raid at some point. Showtail Warriors, 20 to 40 of them running in unannounced, sniping off a TC could be insane. Glass cannons, but if you don't have anything to stop them, they'll tear your buildings apart. You could maybe snipe off 2 TCs. You get like 40 of them, do Royal Airs. They create very quickly, too. You could maybe pull that off. Can't help but feel he's way too passive. I think it's worked for him, though. He'll need to clear that annoying workshop. And he lost, what, 3 TCs? 2 or 3 TCs? But he's pushing back with cannon. Maybe he was just patient rather than passive. And, yeah, I mean, huge difference also in our recount. And, yeah, Villese, as Villese's pushed back, Villese did some damage. But I think he can look at the score and realize, I'm so far behind in eco, I'm going to get steamrolled at this point, as the Ethiopian player has 5 cannon and I have nothing that stops them. So, GG there, as Valas ties at 1-1. And we'll check out the stats. That's 91 to 34 KD for Valas. More res collected for him, too. Not even that huge of a difference, but more for him. And the Vil count at the end. 30 Vils more, so hard task for Villese to catch up. So Twitch is going to make me play an ad for a moment, then we'll just update the scoreboard. And let's see, so that is a win for Valas, ties at 1-1, and we'll have our 2 Finns playing game number 3 on Villese's home map of African River, which I assume he's going to take Byzantines on. That was a win for the Ethiopians over the Saracens. Let me just stay hydrated during the break. And again, thanks T90 for the raid. I'll get the overlay updated before getting to the game this time. Oh, T90. I'm just reading some drama. That he saw the wrong name in DE. Yeah, DE does that, actually. I can maybe... Let's see. Show off my save game menu here. Okay, yeah, there are bugs with the menu. Showed game 3 for him for game 2. Yeah, there are some bugs where the menu in DE doesn't update correctly, so if he's looking at it there instead of capture age, which he might want to do to avoid getting spoiled. It can be awkward. Yeah, it's happened to me before. So game number 3 will be African River, and I was going to remind myself to update my overlay. At least both games are over within 15 minutes. Wasn't the worst set for that to happen. Yeah. At the very least, since the loser of game 1 can pick either map as a home map, it doesn't necessarily spoil the results of the set. Unless someone types, like, GL next at the end. But, I mean, it's a round robin. That doesn't necessarily spoil anything. If you warp your mind to assume players don't type that when the set's over. Now people are spoiling other casters. Yeah, that was unfortunate. So, Villese, Valas are 2 Finnish players, and with the Max, Zupi, and even Rubenstock not playing that much these days, definitely, I think, the top 2 players from Finland right now. Both starting their names with a V, and both looking for a victory in game number 3. How is that gold on the beach? Tight grouping. All right. Let me write myself a bug report there. That's a very minor bug. That woodline gen is something. It's acacia trees, so I don't really mind that because you can go in between the trees. So, African river, gold can spawn on the beach. All right, time to prevent stuff like that from happening. Yeah, gold shouldn't be on beach terrain. It doesn't really matter because you can just do the mining camp next to it, but I like objects being on the terrain they're supposed to be on. What's wrong with the gold is, so you place the gold as a group, and you set the gold to have what's called tight grouping. There are objects such as deer or ostriches that are placed with loose grouping, where they're spread out a bit, and then there are objects such as berries or stone that we place with tight grouping, which keeps them bunched up together. Every object has a terrain restriction, but when you use tight grouping, it can ignore terrain restrictions a bit. And in some cases like this, I place the gold, or the gold is placed so it's supposed to be on land, where the only place where it can spawn, and it's not allowed to spawn on the beach. But because it uses tight grouping, if it doesn't avoid the water enough to the point where the group can overlap the beach, it actually will spawn on the beach, even though it's supposed to be restricted away from that. So not a big deal, won't actually affect the game or anything, but from a standpoint of being a perfectionist for map generation, I prefer to avoid that. What's my personal favorite map? Coast Arena, by far. Both from a hackiness perspective of scripting it, and because the games we've seen have been crazy. We've seen so many different strategies with transports and galleys and castle drops and siege towers. Siege tower is actually used as a siege tower. I've been loving that map. We'll definitely, if we do another Stronghold Frenzy, we'll bring that back. And again, all credits to the Mad Catter for having an amazing map. And again, shout out, I am going to try to get... I remember to update it, the map authors down at the bottom of the overlay, right next to the map name. I think that's lovely to have. That way people get credit. I did edit all the maps, but I want the original author to get credit too. Thank you, Kel22B2B for the follow. And Rodeo Jones, hello, hello. So African River does have a lot of ostriches to push in. Doesn't just have bugged gold and acacia forests. But it will be a dock on the outside. Villese looks like he's not going to leave the Vill out there on the dock to gather from the fish. These are deep fish, but you can grab them from the shallows. And a few fishing ships will pop out. At the same time, Valas not yet going for a dock. So you can skip the dock and go for an early barracks and drush. Villese, though, very heavily using the shorefish at the front of his TC. And leaving his buffaloes there as he pushes in more ostriches. Has a rather well-walled lumber camp and will wall up to the side. You can't fully wall your map because of the shallows, but you can mostly wall it. Just got here and already talking about map scripting. That's what we do in the stream. This is where we get all the nerdy details. So this is the nerdy chat. You enjoy gripping ostriches tightly in a group. Don't we all? Nerd, exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is a very demo raft-friendly gold. Friendly for Valas, that is, not for Villese. And as I say that, though, maybe we'll have a crazy forward where Valas mines that gold and Villese demos him. A bigger demo potential? That's true. We always love demo potential. Nerds in an AoE 2 chat? Never. The game itself is a means to get to the map scripting combo. And Showman, thank you for the follow. And Valas up feudal, and that scout will try to do anything in feudal. Nope, won't get in. Villese needs to care about overchops on the acacia forest. This tree, a lot of wood on it though. These trees do have 150 wood, but they are spaced out a bit. They don't fill the entire forest terrain. Baobab trees are even more spaced, but with even more wood. Yeah, the maps are scripted, but the games are real. Oh no, Villese, that poor villager. She went to the left side to build the house. Will the militia find that? That's 5 militia. The scout for Valas ran through the TC, got to the inside of the walls. Now there to disrupt repairs and prevent any house walls from behind. Man-at-Arms is in for Valas. He is the Japanese, and he will want to click Arson to break through the palisades. Japanese with Arson get through very quickly. None of those trees low enough that the Vills could chop through. And it will be stone walls from Villese, and that's the only way you can stop the men-at-arms. There is Arson, and he will continue stonewalling as he has to do his own tower. Oh my gosh, where is the demo? Where is the demo? Villese, where is the demo? He will go for Byzantine's fire. There's a fire galley. There's a forward blacksmith. What did I tell you? Valas was going to send Vills and be forward this game. So there's a tower on the gold. Tower will try to shoot back the men-at-arms. And the men-at-arms will run away. Can I say hi to your brother Basil? Hello, Basil. No, Villese and Valas are definitely different people. So there is now the tower rush from Valas. That tower will hit Villese's stone. He doesn't have fletching yet, so fletching will extend the range by another tile and fully cover the stone. Villese sending 5 Vills and thinking of his own defensive tower, but does not yet have the stone, and those Vills are just going to stand there idle, waiting for stone. That finally gets dropped off. And he'll do the tower farther back. There's Town Watch for Valas. And, oh, that Vill's actually trapped by the lumber camp. More men-at-arms trying to break through. And this Vill, oh, that Vill's not in a good spot either, as Valas gets through. Those Japanese men-at-arms with Arson break through so incredibly quickly. And now the men-at-arms will trap the base of the tower, and Villese, after seeing the threat posed by the Japanese men-at-arms, he will call a quick GG. African River can give us these types of games. It's a very aggressive map, and with the tower rush from Valas, pretty simple from him. Men-at-arms for map control, Mindstone for towers. Villese attempted to dock and didn't go for anything on land. Very late on the range. Maybe wanted some Byzantine skirms, but against the Japanese, you're definitely expecting men-at-arms to come in. That's why he walled so early. But Arson applying more pressure than he was ready to handle. Japanese men-at-arms are so much fun. Let's see what we got here. That's a 3-3 KD, but those men-at-arms were applying so much pressure. Valas was just like, I'm not going to be able to handle that. 2-1. Valas was just like, I couldn't handle that. 2-1 for Valas. So, well done for him. And he will win over Villese. Quick win there, and let me see. Scoreboard. 2-1 Valas comes back from a 1-0 deficit. Villese loses his home map of African River, and also with his first pick Byzantines against the Japanese. We'll probably see lots of Byzantines Japanese there. Since we also have Monocle in the map pool, some of those hybrid civs that go for men-at-arms will be used on Monocle too. The Japanese good because of their cheaper mills, being able to mill around the shorefish fairly well. I'll probably still see a focus on Armenians and Romans for that map, though. But if our base is still here, what other sets were played today? I think there were some silver sets we can go cast, too. See some Silver Rex. See, deaKer versus Dennis. Alright, we can go cast that, too. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to just do a quick... Let's see, that was a very quick game. I don't even know if I need to play more ads. I'll just do like 30 seconds to get him out of the way. Or 1 minute. And we'll move on to deaKer versus Dennis. And I have several titles I need to upload. Or update. That was fast. So this will bring us over to the Silver League. If I can spell silver correctly. When does Gold Group end? I think we're on round 3 this week. So every set is 5 weeks, and then playoffs at the end. and swap these logos over and swap in the drafts. Maps and civs. I can update the YouTube title too. It also remind me to type the player elos in when we start. That's a good question. What are deaKer and Dennis at this point? What group are they in? Right now they're 2K5. Actually very close. deaKer is 2566 and Dennis is 2561. He's been promising to make a video showing the schedule for weeks. Probably after the Q&A video. So the maps we have here will be Northern Crossings for game number 1, Reverse Acropolis again for deaKer as his home map, and Slopes for Dennis. Also, deaKer random the Japanese, one heck of an amazing civ to random if Northern Crossings is in the map pool. Spanish and Maya. Interesting picks for Dennis. Maya are a civ that would probably be played non-stop on Reverse Acropolis back in AOC. I wonder if there's room for archers into plumes, or plumed archers on Reverse Acropolis these days. Spanish could also be played conks. I've seen them played as conks on Reverse Acropolis before. And hello, Don Pato Pesto. You did not come into a Burgundian set, though, unfortunately. So let me grab the Rex. Oh, sorry. I need to one day update my hotkeys a bit. Oh, and we have a raid. And is that, thank you, Sir Baron, so much for the raid. Thank you all. We are just about to get started in Dennis versus deaKer, so you rated us at the start of a set. Hello, Baron. Hope you had a great day of team games. Have you reached 2K yet? I saw you were almost 2K. At least in 1v1s. One day I'll have to get back and grind 1v1s again. And it will indeed be Northern Crossings. Hello, Panda. Hello, Ivy. It is indeed the real one. Let me add Silver to the overlay. And just type stuff into Capture Age before I swap. So, 2561, 2566. Let me double check the ELOs. Yes, and make sure we have the map name. This crossings with an S. And here we go. So it will be Northern Crossings as the map. This was a Trezini map. And we'll have Dennis to the north playing as the Blue Woo, and deaKer to the south as the Yellow Italians. Went 8-4 in your team games, and you ended up losing 14 ELO. I know that feeling. It's happened to me before. So, Northern Crossings, like Northern Isles, but with some shallows. And I really do like this version of the map. You do have this one tile of rock terrain behind the beach where you can't wall, can't build anything. But if you really wanted to, you could make docks on the beach and then kind of dock block and wall between the docks. I think you actually can just wall maybe using the beach, actually. If you wall enough on the beach, you can wall off the shallows. But that's a lot of walling. You just have to make sure the beach covers behind all the shallows enough that units can't walk. You do also start with a transport ship, and Dennis will make use of that transport ship right away. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Dennis dropping off a Vil and a scout. Oh, is he gonna lame? He's gonna lame. Wish your internet was good enough for team games. I wish my internet was good enough to stream in 4K on YouTube. My internet fails me, though. Borderland is some type of lame. These two vills wall to the inside of the lumber camp, so they will not be lamed. But maybe this will slow down the dock a bit. If the lumber camp's lamed and deaKer won't be able to do a back dock. Italians versus Wu. So deaKer can maybe make up for some of the laming. It's a very early loom on the villager, too. But can make up for some of the laming because he has a discount on the fishing ships. They cost less wood. If only you could put the boar on a transport. He's stolen a sheep. And, oh, the Vill will come forward. Oh, the Vill there. Who gets it first? Looks like deaKer got it. deaKer got the boar. There's going to be a second boar somewhere. Oh, no, second boar is already in under the TC. And that Vill decided, all right, I've done enough laming. Let's go. Time to leave. Time to leave. Yeah, Dennis's dock will be slowed down also, but he did start moving onto the straggler trees after he lost control of the lumber camp. So he didn't lose out on too much wood. A couple of palisades will hurt. And yeah, deaKer and Dennis both will have delayed docks. Dennis will dock the back. He will dock the back of deaKer's base. As deaKer will go to the front. deaKer may be sensing that the dock will come up there. Decides, let's go for the front instead. Let's make sure my fish were safe. And now Dennis will have to start from behind deaKer's base and sail around the island to the front if he wants to hurt deaKer's fish. What is going on? Northern Crossings is going on, our base. That was a beautiful transport ship. Now the scout hopping in the transport. Well, will Dennis's fish be safe? That's a good question. If deaKer does a tower on the dock, that actually might stop the fishing in the feudal age. That could be an option. Both of them for now can just fish. And Dennis won't be fishing at home. His dock was delayed, but delayed it enough he was able to make it forward and isn't behind on the fishing ship count. In response to the laming, deaKer himself also did loom, so he's now essentially a Vill behind the same way Dennis is. Slightly more res collected for deaKer, and I still think that's a result of the later loom. But despite being later, it still is early. Is there enough space to TC the middle island? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think you consistently can. That's actually a very good question. I hadn't thought of making the middle island not TCable before, or consistently yes TCable. I think it's random based on how the stone spawns, so that is a good question. I should think about that. Hello, Baros. If you pick up the relic, I think you can. If you pick up the relic here, then yeah. You could here. Pick up the relic, get the bears out of the way. And feudal age timing, almost exactly the same. 1 second difference of dark age idle time. 1 more second of idle time for Dennis. And the Ibex in under the TC. As we'll have some Vills for Dennis on the woodline, chopping away and sending more Vills to gold. Feels like he wants to play a water build. That Vill still on the fish. Has to be careful of deaKer's scout. Now, you actually can wall your Vill in by the dock. You just have to find a corner like this. And then you can do 2 palisades. Even though you can't wall on the rock terrain, you can find the corner of the beach and keep the Vill safe from scouts. And it will be a barracks for Dennis. I'm sure he would love that forward barracks to make Jin swordsman in the castle age. But for now, it will be feudal, and will be too late to research man-at-arms on the way up. And he will attempt a forward range. That is risky, knowing the scout is there. And there is a Vill from deaKer coming over, so Dennis not going to get the range forward he wanted. The spear is on the way from the barracks. This was not hidden at all, and the forward Vill is killed. That house, does the house see it? Well, the house actually doesn't see that, but the Vill would have. TCs are 4x4, 4x4, not 5x5. Wonders and Vittorias are 5x5. And some other custom objects are. I think the largest object is the cathedral and other 8x8 objects. Thank you, Brandel, for the follow. Welcome in. And Scout will avoid the Ville as a spear glides past the outside. I don't see a follow-up yet, but there will be a range at home this time for Dennis, as he'll add another forward dock. And still rely on either that transport ship or the shallows to go back and forth. It is faster to transport, even though maybe a bit more vulnerable. What we'd love to see would be demos on the shallows. Oh, and Robbie, thank you for the sub. Let's see if Stream Elements plays the alert properly.
An army of rams. How quaint.
How quaint. Will there ever be non-square buildings? There are gates. Gates are not square. But there are multiple buildings joined together. And the annex system... Well, I'd say it's so clunky they wouldn't use it again, but then they used it for pastures, so who knows? Maybe. I've always said a great bonus would be, it's from a Reddit post I saw, 3x2 farms, but you can rotate the farms like they were gates. There was that old Realms bonus with a civ that had 2x2 farms. I think rotatable farms would be awesome, because then you have to figure out how to place them properly. Markets are a square, they're 4x4. deaKer's scout. Will he kill the Ville? That's a low HP scout. Another Ville comes to help out. The scout tries to take the hill, but the Ville gets the hill, and deaKer loses the scout. Nice reaction from Dennis to pull the extra Ville over. Always a risk to attack Villes with your scout, and doesn't work out. Meanwhile, we do have the archers. They did come forward for Dennis, and deaKer will react with some palisades, and we'll do a tower. So thinking the tower is necessary. Doesn't want to lose access to the wood line. And remember, because of this rock, you can't go all the way to the coast with your walls. And Dennis doing a good job of hitting the fishing ships. They're stuck on the dock on a shorefish now, but deaKer ultimately will defend with fires, and probably with a chance to find the transport ship as he's defending with his own archers and keeping Dennis out. And if the transport goes down, that's maybe the end of the archer play on land. And another thing where you think, well, if you see the transport, you know it's not going to be too many more archers that quickly, even with the shallows. So maybe a waste of a tower with how well he's actually now controlling the water. Still would love a demo to hit the archers. Circular farms. Tetris farm micro. Yes, yes, yes. Could even be 2x4 tiles and still have one tile less. Oh, that's true. And then you'd really have to focus on getting it by the TC, like getting it along the edges. That's kind of a trade-off, though, because then you have one per side, but you fit fewer. Now, that'd be more walking distance if you turn it sideways. That's why I like 2x3, because it was a strict bonus. Even though it is fewer tiles. Or even though 2x4 still is fewer tiles. So archers come in for Dennis, and they'll find a Ville by the house and try to push the Ville back. And they'll get a kill on the Ville. Nicely done, fletching on the archers. And maybe I spoke too soon when I said destroying the transport would stymie the archers. Because, ooh, bit of a demo over there. What about roads spawning? I don't like stuff auto-spawning. I think if you had to build roads yourself, that could be a thing. I don't know what the roads would do that would fit AoE 2, though. And I kind of like how they're just a scenery object. For campaigns, they play a role because they show you where to go. I'm not sure what role they actually would play if you could build them yourself in a random map game. That's the role you have on Black Forest. You know where everyone is from the roads. So the archers find the Villes. They'll push the Villes back. Aqueducts. There are aqueducts, but there's no point to them. They're just walls. Or they explode, like in Wellsprings. We created a point to them. Demo, boom, destroying the fire. And it feels like deaKer still is ahead on the water, as he's now 6 fishing ships to 0. And, oh, Basil, thank you for the follow. Our base savoring his victory against Licks on Wellsprings, as now it's deaKer's turn to raid with archers. And there will be a weak Vill on the straggler. The skirm keeps the archers away, though. Dennis will click up to the castle age, about 20 seconds, around 30 seconds faster than Dennis. And there will be a few walls there for Dennis, as the skirms still try to chase the archers, but Vills now have to be careful on the woodline. The archer is getting behind. The woodlines are usually pretty small and scraggly on this map, so easy to shoot over them in the feudal age makes the landings more aggressive, with archers able to do damage. And the Vills have to run back and forth trying to find cover. And skirms going down, hit by the archers. And nice defense there. The skirms didn't have armor, and without armor, fletching archers still can kill them decently. That'll be gold mining and castle age for deaKer. Armor and castle age for Dennis, as the archers behind the woodline still keep the Vills away. That'll be a deleted house with another house going up for Dennis. And a barracks on the way for Dennis as the archers run over. Archers hitting the Vill losing HP. And the Vill goes down. There's Dennis up to the castle age. And here archers shooting somewhere. Oh, there they are. There they are. Trying to kill the Vill, and they are successful. So that's now a 9-2 eco KD in favor of deaKer. And he's dominating the water up to the castle age. Might not even need War Galley at this point. Although at this point he has to worry about Djinn Swordsman. This is what Dennis wanted, getting to the Djinn Swordsman with the forward barracks, but maybe a bit too late to do damage compared to the eco positions. Although I guess I should never say that about Djinn Swordsman. They'll have double stable knights as a counter. And the good thing about the knights here as a counter to the Djinn Swordsman, not only do they win, but having killed that forward Vill earlier, there's no way that Dennis can get monks forward to support the swordsman against the knights. Now that's the downside of going knights against the Djinn Swordsman, is that the Wu Monastery tech tree is great in the Castle Age. They miss Heresy, but that doesn't matter against knights. That's a defensive tech. And they'll miss block printing and imp. But Redemption, Atonement, Sanctity, Fervor, Devotion, everything you want in the Castle Age is there. And okay, we'll have a demo, What'll it do? It's gonna go for the fires. It'll settle there. Gets a fire, at least. There's a Djinn Swordsman in the back, maybe ready to fight more archers. The archers are kind of low. And the knight will try maybe to break through the house. Archer is still finding little juts into the woodline where they can raid. Maybe Dennis can fish trap from that dock. You really don't want a fish trap where your opponent can hit you with archers, because then the archers can focus the fish trap instead of the fishing ships. And they are much more fragile and also more expensive. Now Monk wants a conversion on the knight. That could be a really good conversion if he's successful. And he is successful. Alright, goodbye archers. And that cleans up the archer raid. That's actually crazy value to keep the woodline safe. deaKer had been behind it for such a long time. And now Dennis adds in another TC, and he's only 5 Vills down. Actually, let's see, 43 to 45 Vills. Wait a minute. How does that... Oh, he has 5. He got 5 fishing ships. Okay. Well, if you wanted him to fish boom from this dock, looks like he agreed. He's adding in some more fishing ships there. We'll have Husbandry and Bowsaw both for deaKer. And Djinn Swordsman attacking some Vills. And a monk wants a conversion on the Djinn Swordsman. There we go, there's a conversion. And with the skirm at home, what else here can this monk do? We'll have Husbandry for deaKer. Maybe the monk can try to convert some fires and push them away from the coastline. Ships do have a bit of conversion resistance naturally. Like, kind of like buildings in that regard. The archers over here will be getting some value attacking the fishing ships, but ultimately don't want to deal with the fires. I'd love to see a demo hit all those fishing ships at once. Careening on the way. Remember, no thalassocracy patch yet. Careening still will be just armor. Hello, Froggy Frog Frog. Monks want some conversions down here. Now, there's a conversion on the Archer. That transport's still sailing for deaKer. And it feels weird that it's only 5 eco units of the lead, because it feels like deaKer's super far ahead. He's getting the Knights into raid Villese, even with 1 conversion. Right. Good conversion on the high HP Knight. You know, the water update will come mid TTL. Yup, it will. As Arbe says, 10 days from now. I'm scared. There's also a content creator preview that's supposed to be starting soon that I haven't gotten access to yet. I need that to be able to do the maps for the Brazil land. Are we gonna finish them? Nope, we're just gonna update. And the maps hopefully support a seamless transition between both patches. The Vills on the Stone, we'll drop it off at the TC, add in some farms. And War Galley pops out now. So, complete water control from Dennis, but nowhere near Imp. I still feel... I mean, for deaKer, sorry, for deaKer. That 2 players whose names start with DE. The most definitive way to confuse the streamer. With similar names. Almost as bad as the LY clan and me calling everyone Licks. And it feels like deaKer now, coming around the back of his island, will clean Dennis off of the water. And that will help make a big difference in the Vil discrepancy, as deaKer should pull ahead, cleaning up those fishing ships from Dennis, who had been fishing pretty peacefully in the back. You can see the big gap of missing fish on the water. Transport goes down. And the Monk's not going to get conversions. Dennis losing everything. And deaKer surviving takes down the Knight. And now deaKer can start pushing the docks. Recorded games are live. Chat is live. Games are recorded. And the maps are scripted. And the castle drop. Oh my gosh, deaKer. deaKer, you can go more forward than that. You can go more forward. Oh, look at the score. Oh, okay. He's... What? Maybe he heard us. Maybe this is live and he heard us. Oh, you know what's happening? He's realized that Dennis did a castle here. He deleted the castle to counter castle, but he is 4 stone short, 646 stone. And there's his castle. He's in a position to sell wood, buy food, and click up if he has the buildings. He has a monastery, but I don't think he actually has a university yet. So if he's selling wood, he might still struggle to click up. He might need the castle as his building to click up. And Imp actually does come in first for Dennis. Down by over 2k res collected by Imp first. He liked Dennis's army count. 0. Well, that's the right way to counterattack. 0 army. And Villese do a mining camp over on the stone. Dennis forget the siege workshop. That's true. He's gonna go for a Treb war, but he's a 3 Kingdom civ. He doesn't have Trebs. And the way he placed that castle, actually, near the wood lines, means that he doesn't actually have space for traction Trebs. Remember, traction Trebs have less range than normal Trebs. It's only 14 range compared to 16. And that castle now, what's that? 9 range, and it just hits. So 9 plus 4 for the size of the castle. Your favorite videos are 0 kills in any campaign? That's true, 0 military for 0 kills. But the 9 plus 4 is 13, and you're putting Trebs behind the castle. The traction Trebs might not even reach this. Yeah, he said he 10,000% forgot that he's a 3 Kingdoms Civ. And he needs the... Oh no. He needs the workshop. He needs the workshop. Yep, panic workshop. There we go. Our base called it. Scale mail armor on the way for deaKer as the Italians, and he's ready to spam Condottieri into what remains of Dennis's eco. There is a forward watchtower. There's a hole among those houses, and the Condottieri will be ready to spam forward from those barracks. And I think this looks perfect for deaKer, as the Italians even could do chemistry and then add cannon galleons once he's up, and should be able to pressure almost everything here. Fast fire as a last-ditch attempt from Dennis. How is the Wu late game on water? They do have the Lutron. Is that good? I have no idea. No shipwright though, but they do have fast fire. So I think they still pretty well lose to the Italians if they do get shipwright though. What was that tower? The deaKer probably doesn't want us to look at that tower. Fast fire and chainmail armor for deaKer. And chainmail armor does indicate Condottieri, even though he's not pumping them out yet. Castle for deaKer. That dock not finishing, and deaKer continues pushing around the outside. Treb war here with double castle Treb production. And still looking no chemistry yet for the Italians. Kind of odd not to see that immediately. Same damage as before after their change against buildings. I think a bit more slightly, but they're still not great against buildings. And Trebs will go for the castle. 2 traction Trebs out. They are great against trebuchets, though. They're great against trebuchets. Let's get all these lines off. These lines look ugly after a while. Oh, there's actually a hill here. Light hill. I think that Treb might have been not on the hill. Alright, Treb versus traction Treb. Does the Treb hit? It does! It connects! Lucky Treb shot there from deaKer. Connects to the traction Treb. And he has chemistry on the way. As Dennis is trying to get back onto water. But he's still down by a huge score difference. And this island in the middle, as of yet, unclaimed. Players can go out and TC or castle that whenever they want. Fire is going down in the middle, and we'll have a couple of barracks up for Dennis as his castle falls, and Condottieri should be ready to run forward as a melee unit to pick off the traction Trebs. He needed more than one panic workshop. See, what's the Wu? They would have... They need the unique tech to have a special traction Treb. Yeah, they don't have any other bonus like the Wei do for the cheaper ones, and there we go. deaKer will win. Congrats to deaKer. And let's check that. 82 to 61 KD. Better eco. And everything worked out for him. Let me just double check my... Am I hearing double volume? I'm not. I'm just hallucinating. GG. Alright, so let me just do the ads while I update the scoreboard. What does Twitch think I need to play? I enjoy this Age of Mythology music. And what do we have here? 1 win for deaKer. As far as maps, it's a win on Northern Crossings. And for civs, that was Italians as the very first pick, winning against the Wu. So good job from deaKer. Alright, so are there any Silver League sets that also happened today aside from this one? I just want to check if I'm going to spoil myself if I look at the Wikipedia standings later. I need the dashboard to have the schedule for like an extra day. This game 2 will indeed be slopes. And hello there, Basil. Hello, hello. We did have Stone Please versus Juju. That's gold, alright. Let's see. Maybe I'll cast that tomorrow morning before Platinum. There's a lot of sets tomorrow, right? So maybe I'll start casting in the morning and do like 2 streams before and after Platinum. Alright, so once the ad's over, we'll jump into this. And also thank you everyone who is subbed, because you don't see the ads. Who is watching on YouTube, because YouTube is awesome. Yeah, 13 GMT. That's a good start time for me, actually. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ad is ending. Game number 2, we will start. He's making hearts. I do that for everyone in the chat. Getting a nice schedule for Wednesday together for gold. Nice. Alright, so now we'll have Dennis. He swaps colors. This time he's playing as the red Malay to the southwest. And deaKer will be the blue Hindustanis to the northeast. Let's not change colors in the middle of the set. We'll keep deaKer as the yellow and Dennis in blue. Maybe deaKer just likes playing a different color on water maps. So it'll be Slopes and Dennis. First, he goes forward with his scouts. The DE beginning of both their names is confusing enough for me. I don't need them swapping colors. I feel like I'm used to seeing deaKer in blue, though. Maybe that's just because of the Argentinian flag that's I usually see for him. Go DE, yeah. It's like when we have Italians versus Malians. They are the aliens, civs. And ooh, Doublevilles going for the boar. Early Borlor for deaKer. Do a lumber camp down at the bottom of his hill. And the sheep running around. I guess we can maybe speed the Dark Age up a bit since these are Rex. For everyone asking if this is live or if it's Rex, I assure all of you that the maps are scripted. DE versus DE on DE. If only they were German, too. Oh, thank you very much for the cheer. Who's your favorite Muppet? I can't say that I have a favorite one, unfortunately. I wish I had a better answer than that. Is there a special reason for Malay on this map? Well, they certainly can't fish boom. You can't dock these ponds. I think it's just the Malay overall are a really good civ. We have seen a lot of drushers and men-at-arms, so maybe it's a play for the free armor to try to drush or go men-at-arms on the fish. And there's the early barracks, so pre-milled barracks. And there will be a scout dancing by the boar, but the boars are pretty close to the TC. They're hard to lame on this map. Even, oh my gosh. Even if you can block like that. Oh, Crab's here. Hello, Crab. Good Lond, have Lond. How are the Londs londing? The Londs are all having a limb soup day. How can I not have a favorite Muppet? I never paid attention to anything involving Muppets at any point in my life, so unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you. If I were a fish, what type of fish would I be? I've never thought about that question. And I don't know enough about fish to answer. And hello to Booze again. So, Malay pick means timing. I think it also means free armor. You want to get a good timing for the feudal age and then have men-at-arms with armor. Extra hard to fend off with archers. But deaKer on the fish that are opposite the side of the barracks, kinda. I guess that doesn't really matter too much on this map. They're exposed nevertheless. Oh my gosh, deaKer. Does deaKer realize that you can walk on top of this? He is open here. He's not walled. The walls don't protect anything. This is like that time Ozone walled using the oyster, and an army of crossbows went right over the oyster. He stone-walled and used the oyster as part of the wall, and you can walk over the oyster. So militia whacking the palisade. They want to break in. That's going to be an unpleasant surprise, but thankfully for deaKer, Dennis has not yet scouted that. He's just going to whack at the palisade and not get in yet. Barracks on the way for deaKer on the other side. He's up to feudal. Oh, is this like a Drush FC? What's Dennis doing in the Dark Age so long? 23 Vills plus Loom? I guess Loom means he's going to click up now. But long Dark Age for the Malay, who won't get their armor until they hit feudal. Doesn't want to take a fight until the armor comes in. There are mangonels to kill Kushluk. It would be possible. There are lots of ifs for Kushluk. Unfortunately, we're stuck with the else. Scout fight as a spear pops over. Going for big eco. Ooh, going for a weak scout though. That spear. That was a nasty poke. And the militia, again, doing what they don't want to do, fighting before their armor comes in. And with the hill advantage, deaKer will try to fight that. Take as good of a fight as he can. Now, instant armor, so he's really going to want to disengage. One more hit on the militia, and he'll kill the militia regardless now. There's the man-at-arms upgrade. He added in a few more. They're heading across the map. Still done no damage to that mill. And maybe now he realizes the Vills can walk there since they are there. But I guess he took the fish. Could you wall him in, give him a trial, and sentence him to death for his crimes? That's relatively pacifist. You can't do that, Crab, because in order to build walls, you have to kill 5 cav archers to get villagers. So unfortunately, that's not possible. You need to kill other units first. Yes, I have thought about that before. Now the men-at-arms will find the Vills. And he will successfully, after all of that, he does successfully quick wall the Vills. Look at that, look at that. And deaKer playing this very well so far with the defense, but not getting enough HP on the walls. And that is a big mistake if the Vills now can't run. He needs to block and keep the low HP Vill from getting hit by the men-at-arms. The other Vill only has so much tanking that he can do. You need to keep reorganizing the Vills so the high HP ones are in the back. Thick walls to disaster. Walls not as good as he would have liked. Needed a bit more HP on them. And now farms around the TC for deaKer. As some more walling comes in, deaKer has, aside from that little accident of the palisade there, he doesn't actually lose the villager. The men-at-arms weren't able to get the trap in the kill, so now deaKer keeps all his Vills alive, gets back to the TC, but is now trapped by the TC. And here we're seeing the menace of the Malay men-at-arms. And that armor they have, how hard it is to clean them up early on. Meanwhile, though, deaKer has amassed a few skirmishers and will be heading forward, and Dennis, who has been committing to archers, won't immediately be able to fight that. And yeah, pretty good hold for 5 men-at-arms. But against the Malay, holding usually isn't enough, as we do have 400 more res collected with that Vill bonus. A bit of idle time for both of them, but more for deaKer, even with the cheap Vills, and the Malay will have a nice 3 to 4 villager lead. The men-at-arms from Dennis still causing damage. No, almost running to the TC. Almost. The spear will try to poke down skirms. Hey, we'll go for the spear. Spear goes down. Skirms hit the Vills, and the Vills have to run away from the hares. That is a 2 HP Vill, Skirm's just missing, and Castle Age will be on the way for Dennis. There goes the Vill. Who do I have winning the Super Bowl? I actually haven't been paying attention. I've not been paying attention to the Super Bowl at all. My Giants are so bad that I've just been horrified to look. Yeah, that is tomorrow. Why is it on a Sunday? Because that's when football is played in America, Arbase. Fridays for high school, Saturdays for college, and Sundays for the pros. Tomorrow is Monday for crab. And the Men-at-Arms will try to chase the Skirms. As Castle Age comes in for Dennis, they'll get more armor, but will they live? No, they won't live to see a free armor. We got a good new coach. That's for next season, though. That's for next season if we can get Dart, Scattaboo, and who's our receiver? All three of them healthy. Neighbors. All three of them were very injured this season. We still couldn't tank to get the first draft pick. So Bowsaw and Scalebarding armor for Dennis. And we can hope for elephants, right? There's one elephant going forward. He takes the score lead. And, okay, elephants. Oh no, though. deaKer will run through the farm and get into the back where he can raid the gold. Dennis's Vills have to delete a house so they can run. Oh no, and they need to rebuild the house. Well, he has a TC up here. He's fine. He's fine. Elephant continuing to pressure. deaKer's still in the feudal age, so he doesn't have monks yet. The best he can do against this is a bunch of spears. I misclicked a militia for a moment, but we'll get the spears out now. Elephant versus spear. Let's go. They just pass each other. Just passing. And wall plus house being finished. Elephant trapped by the Vill. Ooh, could see some quick wall potential trapping the elephant, but oh, that spear did a number on the elephant. Oh, those pokes are deadly. One more spear should do it, actually. The elephant was not as strong as I hoped it would be. And the spear will kill the elephant. Aw, poor elephant. Well, still 1-to-1 in terms of eco KD. Dennis coming forward with archers and with an elephant chasing the skirms. It's a lot of skirms. You're doing a challenge not using castle and siege workshop. That does sound pretty hard. You have to use infantry or elephants to destroy everything then, depending on the campaign. Mostly infantry then in the original campaigns. There's no Persian campaign, and I guess you need the castle for elephants there. So, castle drop from Dennis. Here come forward Vills. 12 Vills hitting Dennis's stone mine at the top, but not a TC there. I'm sure he would have loved to have dropped on a TC. But we'll just be the stone in the lumber camp. And then mine the stone and secure the stone mines on the sides. Archer's still running from the skirm. Skirm's got a good chase, though. A defensive CA? What CA? Our base? There are no CA here. It's all elephants from Dennis so far. And a monk. Oh, what is this? The wall's trying to... Oh, that would have been sick if he had walled in the Vills. Where are the Vills going? Well, they're chased by Galams now. The gate will be useful. It'll halfway wall in a Vill. Oh, no ballistics, then castles can't hit anything. Vills poked by the Galams. They'll go down. And nice raid from deaKer as he's taking the score lead. Down by 10 Vills. And this will be a third TC now from Dennis, and the Galams do not want to fight the elephant. They do not want to fight the elephant, and that elephant will clean them up. On the right, The archers finally run into a wall and are killed by the skirms. The elephants tries to chase the skirms, but will chase them into deaKer, who now has finished advancing to the castle age and can add in the monastery and monks. You know, ballistics, always do ballistics. Always do ballistics. Never forget ballistics. And as a conversion comes in, the elephant has to turn. And there'll be a mining camp up for deaKer. And scale mail armor on the way for deaKer as well. You know, ballistics would have maybe killed everything. I still need to finish my comparison of accuracy of castles and TCs and archers with and without ballistics between AOC and DE. So the scale mail armor is in for deaKer. And the monk gets a conversion on a skirm. Not that valuable, but I guess this is mostly skirms. Would much prefer, I think, to convert a gulam. They don't resist conversion like eagles do. And the village that already raised one castle will go to raise a second castle. This time, again forward, deaKer dropping right on Dennis's town watch TC. The skirm's trying to block the elephant from the monk. Will it get a conversion? No, it won't. Would have been great value if it did, but the skirms go down. And there's a forward monastery, though, so deaKer can keep adding in more monks. And that TC will be hit by the castle. And this TC won't, although with Bodkin, the castle might hit. The range circle will be right at the edge. I'm not sure if that means it hits or doesn't. deaKer should be making camels. Hindustani camels are outrageously good into chunkies. Are they? I usually think camels aren't that good against elephants. Maybe Hindustani ones are different, though. Since they do attack faster. Monk looking for a conversion on the villager. And swapping targets. It's the conversion. Bill will attack the monk or run away. And here come the Gulams. They are going to make a beeline for the gold. They are making a beeline for the gold. One defensive monk. It gets one conversion and the Gulams turn away, but that's damage there by itself, forcing the idle time. And that's damage killing the Vil. Oh, look at that stack on the elephant. Elephants, they do splash damage, right? Do the battle elephants do it? Yeah, they have a bit of splash damage. So you don't really want to patrol stack into them. You're shocked when you realize how good they are. Okay, I'll have to... I know I've seen that matchup before, but so many balance changes have happened. It's not fresh in my mind right now. Are they gold counter to elephants? They are, but not. They don't nearly have the bonus attack that halbs do. Okay, there's a picked off monk. Same with Gurjurs. Okay. Well, I imagine Gurjurs at least have the melee armor for their camels, so they might actually be pretty decent. I remember Boyars being pretty good against battle elephants because of their armor. That monk wants a conversion. These Vils need a quick wall, and they don't get it. Oh, they don't get it. The Gulam's trying to patrol stack. They don't get in. There they go. Conversion on an elephant. They want to kill some Vils here. And that'll be disruptive to Dennis's castle Vils. They have to run away. And at the same time, there's a castle right on his face. deaKer dominating here, still down 17 Vils. And there is room for Dennis to fall back onto this slope, and he's adding another TC. He's adding more farms. He's auto-farming around that mill. And he's still holding out hope that he can get this castle up, but that's maybe a doubt's worth of hope. As so far, this is denied. His military count is 4 to 23, 5 to 23. As much as that has 5 elephants, that still is not a good number. Lots more stables, 97% there, but the Gulams keep pouring forward. We'll have triple castle Gulam production now for deaKer. And the Vils finally do get walls up, though. And with the walls and the elephants, we might finally be able to get a castle. But remember that was a 17 Vil lead a few seconds ago? Now it's a 4 Vil lead, thanks to all of these raids. And that palisade might even go down. Wait, that goes down. The elephants are lured away, chasing some other Gulams, but the monk dies to the TC. That monkey got into conversion, the castle might still be denied, but the Malay castles left. How do Karambits do against Gulams? Karambits and elephants? deaKer takes the score lead, but Dennis not out of this yet. Still has the Vil lead, has 4,000 more res collected, and has Malay elephants. Maybe he meant to draft Magyars instead, but he is going melee. And a TC for deaKer. That'll be his third. He has 3 TCs against 4, so Vil production is still better for Dennis. Can the monk get a conversion? No, he can't. Is Dennis devoted? He's not even devoted. That was a non-devoted elephant. Still loyal to Dennis. And now they're gonna raid the woodline as we have Imp on the way for Dennis. Once he gets Imp, his elephants get even cheaper. Melee bonus goes from minus 25% to minus 35%. And now those cheap elephants are raiding that wood line. Not enough room in the TC for the Vils to garrison. 15 inside already. There's another monk wanting another conversion. Can the elephants get the kill? They're all very low on HP. He's trying to convert the full HP elephant, and Dennis not microing. Why is he not microing? Because he has Gulams at the back of his base. He's needing to run from the gold and the stone, but he's still trying to pump out more elephants. Still at the 9-Vil lead. Get Heresy? The Hindustani don't have Heresy, the Malay do. That's expensive, though. I mean, it would be great against the monks, but that's really expensive. That doesn't need it if the elephants are that devoted. Oh, there's another monk going down. Now, let's see, is this a monk getting killed? Where are the conversions? Where is the devotion? He doesn't, this is the man who doesn't need to be devoted. There's Imp. And now deaKer has to play full castle age against Imp Malay. And we all know what happens to these castles once the trebs are popping. And this could be 2 forward castles down in an instant. Maybe there needs to be some walling to keep the trebs safe from Gulams. But the castle should go down. Our base wants Heresy. Do elephants have conversion resistance? All elephants? Was that a change then? Bengali elephants, yes. Or Persian ones? That was a recent change? Alright, well, we'll need to look into that. Chat would never lie. Here's some Gulams, iron casting for Dennis. 1 treb. If you can destroy castles, that's stopping Gulam production too. And a wheelbarrow for deaKer so he can run from the elephants faster with his Vils. Always listen to chat. Always listen to chat. Always, always, always. Never don't listen to chat. Karambits will pick off the monk because the elephant's deleted. And again, deleted elephant right in the middle of that tree. That's painful. Forging and wheelbarrow for deaKer. The castle will try to take down the house. I feel like non-devotion Ellie should never be able to run down a max range monk and kill it. Probably not. At least not if the monk has sanctity. Or at least they should be able to kill the monk every time if it doesn't have sanctity. Let me organize my negatives properly. So 1 castle down, the second will follow. Tree also in the debris of that castle. And these 2 trebs, they need to be walled. Dennis, you have a villager right there. Wall the trebs. You have some stone. You can make a stone wall. You do a house. Oh, he realized... Oh, no, that's a mining camp. Well, the mining camp is as good as a wall. You seize the Gulams. Dennis, wall your trebs. Wall your trebs. Oh, don't lose 2 trebs for free. And down they go. The castle doesn't fall. Still 1,700 hit points on it. And, okay, alright, these are 2 romantic castles here. 4 tiles adjacent on each side. And they both go up within a fraction of a second. But there already is 1 treb in the back for Dennis. And he has some elephants to pick off siege. Petards, is that gonna help? Gulams come forward to attack the treb. Okay, elephants do have some conversion resistance now. Our base will confirm. Let's see, trebs for Dennis, petards for deaKer. At least Petards don't have to worry about being sniped off by the unique units. Karambits are now raiding deaKer's eco. deaKer, with that castle up, still can try to raid again. Has one Gulam trying to get to the gold. But now Dennis has another Treb, still not walling it. And the elephants now from Dennis walking forward, getting under the castle fire though. That one Pierce Armor upgrade of the Malay hurting against the castle, but the castle only has fletching. No Bodkin, no Bracer yet, and here comes the Armored Elephant to batter down Dennis's castle. Dennis with the Treb. And there are some Petards there. Capture Age doesn't show it at the bottom. A 20 out of 20 garrison does cut off the bottom row. Sadly. Thought it was more recent. Okay. So there is the first Petard. Can't really repair when the castles are this close. With the elephants and more Petards, I think that's one from deaKer. Dennis going to do murder holes so his castle can attack that castle. The Trebs at the front did take down deaKer's other forward castle, but the Glums will counter raid and destroy the Trebs as murder holes comes in, but murder holes too late to help this castle in the castle war, as it will be torn down by the elephants. And now the Gulams from deaKer are getting into Dennis's economy at the south. They're attacking the elephants in the middle, and they're continuing to pour out from that castle in the west. So Gulams from everywhere slaughtering Villes. Somehow, though, deaKer still has fewer Villes, and his elephant rams will stop that trebuchet from destroying his own castle. Oh, right down. Yeah, Glums will protect this TC, so deaKer moving out to the edge now. That's where his stone is. And he still has more castles, 2-1. Hindustanis again, they no longer have halbs. So the camels, could that be an option against the elephants? Maybe. Pikemen could still be added if they really want to. Shiitake hand cannoneers might be pretty good against low pierce armor too. Maybe that's the way to go, Shiitake now. Oh, look at the Glums. They're doing pretty decently though against the elephants. Still just Castle Age elephants, not elite. And that's so many Glums. Yeah, 26 and 18 in the queue. Elite Battle Elephant, though, clicked for Dennis. Okay, Elite Battle Elephant. Stable for Dennis. As the elephants attack the Glums. Elephant hit by the Villes. Villes going down. And low HP Villes. Chase. Down they go. Are we just spamming elephants? I guess so. Wait. I just realized it's deaKer who's raiding with the elephants, with the converted elephant. There is a Doubt Castle in the middle for Dennis as the Gulams run for. How does Dennis have such a huge score lead against deaKer? I feel like deaKer's winning this game. I guess it's the 10k res collected? Are the Malay Battle Elephants cheap enough to win it at this point? It's 15 military to 29. Now, how does that one elephant do against all those Gulams? I guess it's kind of winning. A castle from Dennis denied. deaKer will add a second and a third TC. And as the Trebs come forward, maybe the elephants are enough. Maybe, although who's Gulam raids for deaKer, he does have a negative KD. Maybe that hasn't hurt Dennis's eco enough to the point where the Malay can't make elephants. Right now they're cheap. 35% discount and he's just spamming elephants. deaKer doesn't want to take that fight thinking he maybe would lose. Maybe wants to go for the Villes or the Trebs. Yeah, 104 eco kills. He's not back here, though. We have 5 TCs for Dennis. He keeps pumping out Vills. And now it's time to send another village. Second round to attempt to finish this castle in the middle. There's deaKer finally up to Imp. But what can he do? He doesn't have any gold left. The elephants are raiding the TC by the gold. All those Vills are idle. He still doesn't even have Bodkin. And Bodkin would help out so much against the Malay elephants with the TC fire. Going from 2 to 3 damage is a pretty big increase. It's 6 to 4 attack to armor. I think Dennis wins this 100%. Maybe I was wrong about deaKer's, because I thought those Golams had done so much damage. That's 113 Vil kills, and it hasn't stopped the elephants. And Trebs, they'll destroy this castle and push forward, and I think you're right. I think you're right. Dennis has this. deaKer cannot stop the elephants, and again, no helps the Hindustanis. This is crazy. Elephants can even help pushing the buildings. Monk defense, Hindustani monks. They do have all the techs other than Atonement, which is only anti-monk, and Heresy, which is also anti-monk. So against the elephants, they're about as good as you could want. No halves, and does he have the gold for camels? He does still have the safe gold in the north and by this TC. Monks want conversions on more elephants. Needs handcart for the Vills to run faster. Really, he does. Gets a conversion. Triple monastery monks are all he can do as the elephants pour in from Dennis, and he will call the G. Thank you, A Nenoilul, for the follow. Thank you very much. And there we go, 1-1. Dennis ties it up. Military 253 to 191 KD. Better KD for Dennis. The military numbers 35 to 13. That's why I thought Dennis had won the game. His military was so much higher. Right after Imp, he took a bad fight, but then he roller coastered up and fell at the end when he couldn't keep it running. Hey, Malay are good civ. So many bonuses they have for that work now. Any more sets? I think this will be our last one tonight, but I'll probably do more tomorrow morning or platinum. Let's see. I need to update the scoreboard. Great buttons to press. I'm trying to simplify my scoreboard updating, but it'll be more complex until I finish that, unfortunately. So that's a win for Dennis on his home map of Slopes. Game number 3 will then be on Reverse Acropolis. That'll be deaKer's home map. That was a loss for the Hindustanis and a win for the Malay. Is this going to be the Maya for Reverse Acropolis? We have Maya, Vietnamese, and Spanish for Dennis available against the random Japanese, the Portuguese, and the Georgians. So I guess this is going to be Georgians for Reverse Acropolis. deaKer looked like he went into the draft for the plan. Simplify some code I have written. And we're going to capture age in game number 3 on Reverse Acropolis. Do we see a surprise? Are the Spanish actually surprising on this map? I don't think they're surprising. I don't think they're surprising at all. Thanks for casting goal. Thanks for watching, Tundra Blitz. Thank you so much for watching. All right, so here we are, game number 3. deaKer will be the yellow Georgians to the southwest, and Dennis the blue Vietnamese to the northeast. And, well, Vietnamese. Does he want Fire Lancers? These days, I'm never surprised with Fire Lancers. So I'll just go on 2x speed. And maybe have a slight deer push for Dennis. Alright, I'm here. We can start. Alright, just in time for game number 3. Here he arrives just at the right moment. Have some deers getting pushed in. And getting the deer towards the TC there. More vills will pop out. And what do we have here for this in terms of gold positionings? A couple of side golds there for Dennis. Another side one here for deaKer. deaKer, who went back to actually yellow versus blue this game. They went back to their colors from game 1. I don't even need to change anything. You're right, he could go elephants again. They worked well for him last game. Why not do it again? So, boar, stop by the house. That's deaKer saying, I don't want to lose any HP on this mill. It gets right under the TC. Only one bite. And as I said earlier, I did adjust the map so it's a bit more consistent than it had been in the past. You always do have one big back area against the edge of the map you can use as a wall. No longer in the corner where you have only 5 or 6 tiles as a wall. And Georgians, the way I've seen the map played, they want to be kind of defensive and use fortified churches. But that can also be a big risk with how large the hill is surrounding you. So yeah, you predicted correctly, T-Cone. Georgians versus Vietnamese. And the Vills will take that deer, and it will be the mule cart. Mule cart, really nice for how small the wood lines are, too. Occasionally you get a couple of wood lines that spawn together, and you can get a good lumber camp. But the mule cart has been wonderful. We did take the forests and make them ever so slightly larger at the expense of removing the clumps. So it's the same number of trees, but more trees per clump, so your lumber camps get a tiny bit more efficient down here. Extra maybe 200 wood per camp. And the deer will be pushed in, taken right under the TC. And we'll have Feudal Age on the way for both players. deaKer up 1 Vill faster. Not much idle time for either of them. Dennis will have the benefit of knowing exactly where deaKer is. You are usually opposite-sided. Or I think pretty much always opposite-sided now. Well, you could be more to one side or to the other. There's still a good degree of freedom where how the angle works out. And it will be a stable opening from deaKer. Also an archery range then from Dennis, as Dennis is looking to wall up by the berries. A bit more compact with his walls, and deaKer will have to decide what to do with the scout. If he wants to fight a Vill, I always think the answer is no. Because reinforcements arrive and you lose scout HP for nothing. Hello, Full Metal Zim. Hope everyone's having a good day. Just got off work and eat and enjoy from casting before you head to bed. Hope you had a good day working on a Saturday. Thanks for coming by the stream. And an archery range up for deaKer. And we'll have palisade walls for deaKer on the side by the gold. Dennis did win, yes. It looked pretty good for deaKer. I thought it looked good for deaKer too, with all those Galam raids killing over 100 villagers, but you can't stop the light elephants. They're too cheap. The Malay don't need an eco to produce elephants. And here it will be a few scouts versus just an archer. Archer defense for Dennis. If you're the Georgians then, what do you do against Fire Lancers? This was what we had Mr. Yo versus Siscon on Valley, if I recall. Georgians versus Vietnamese. Hello, Butler. M. N. Am I done with streaming? Probably. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Why did they make such a comeback? I don't think they ever dropped off. And people have always been picking Georgians. I feel it's probably map poor related, where you pick Georgians, they can be played on hybrid maps, but probably not one of the top civs for hybrid maps. So when we had more random bands, you saw Georgians more. We saw them a bit in Empire Wars, but then that was just Koreans' dominance. Pond's still too big? No one's docking it. It's fine. It's fine. Add some scenery to the map.
მსახურო ვითარც აგინდეს კეთილარს მსახურო ვითარც აგინდეს
Are there? Nope, there are no fish there. No fish, so no one's gonna dock. I think we see them more because they're banned less. That's true, right? No random bans in TTL. Yeah, no fish in the pond unless players make fish traps and add their own fish. deaKer going much more heavy for military than Dennis is. And kind of the opposite of how I'd expect the civs to be played. I think maybe the Georgians prefer to be defensive and try to hold for the churches, but here it's deaKer the one pumping out the skirms with a few scouts. Spending significantly more eco in this push, but then again, since he opened scouts rather than the range, he has more farms laid down earlier, so he has more food income. And you can see that 19 on food versus 14 on food. And Dennis hasn't spent as much food. He's a bit closer to going up. But deaKer, well, if he would stop doing blacksmith upgrades, he'd catch up in food collected, but actually he is going to value padded archer armor. I like the bigger investment. All your res is rangeable. That it is. Pretty much everything here out by the walls. I think this map turned out really nice. The way we just kind of shuffled the bases a bit to ensure that since you're kind of closer to the edge of the map and have this bigger flat area on the back, it does force your resources forward a bit. I like that that's a bit more consistent now. So archers hit by the skirms. These scouts go to break through the house. And they will get in. They'll get in. And hit Villese on the gold as archers loop around the side to fight the skirms. Skirm is pushing the archers. And Villese in the back losing some HP. And you get a get out of the game fish boom. Someone starts fish booming on this map, where I'm gonna place the pond with like a dried up sinkhole. So the archer is still trying to deal with the skirms. They pick off a scout. The scouts would love to break through that palisade. Skirms hitting the Vill away. That house has only 29 HP. Another Vill has to come over the wall. So get a bit more HP on the house. And the scouts are almost in. They're so close to getting in. All the Vills have to dive on the house. There's a weak Vill there. The skirms don't target her though, and she gets away. And AOC, those javelins would have hit. But indeed, she lives. Will this Vill be so lucky? I think he will. And after all of that pressure, Dennis does manage to wall up, and he is up to the castle age. No gold access, though. No gold access. He only has 29 gold. Good luck doing knights without gold. He has to throw up a market just so he can rearrange his eco to make knights. But if he does get 3 knights out, maybe does put armor on them, could be okay to push this back. And he's going to try to TC the front gold. deaKer, oh, he almost scouted that. Will he be over in time to see it? Oh, he will. This palisade is crucial. That'll stop the scouts from getting around. Oh, that's a lot of skirms. There's also a lot of Vills in the TC. Weak Vill trying to wall. Oh, deaKer, will he break through the gate? Will he break through the gate? The skirms can pick the weak Vill. They do. No one's building the gate. I think the TC goes up, though. I think it goes up. There's a hole in the wall in the back, also an overchop. And the gate does go up. Ooh, risky move from Dennis. Loses a couple of Vills, but gets the TC up. deaKer now 1k res collected ahead. Some more walling back here for Dennis. If those walls don't go up, then the scouts dive. At the very least, they wouldn't have had forging or any upgrades. But behind that, deaKer is up. And now deaKer decides what does he when he gets up. Does he plop down TCs? You get a nice TC at the front. Does he go for fortified churches and eco at the bottom? Does he prioritize the skirm upgrades and try to raid? He's pretty far ahead in Vill, so if he gets a second TC up, he should be fine. And will he scout the third TC? Ooh, he just missed that. Just missed scouting that. Also, I'm realizing, chat, you didn't remind me. I need to swap the logo for the silver logo. I've had the gold logo up this whole time. That's okay. We'll get the right logo by the time it ends. deaKer up to the castle age. Scurum, Bodkin, and Bosaw all on the way. There is a fortified church. deaKer protecting the gold. And as the Georgians, he will get that 10% eco boost for all the villas by the church. You gotta work out in a 12-hour shift. I'm very familiar with 12-hour weekend night shifts. I've had to do that in the past. Sometimes you do stream for over 12 hours, but those are a bit easier than working in a hospital. So TC scares away the skirms. Skirms will run up the hill. And the archers and knights from Dennis will... Oh, he's doing it. He's going elephants again. Yes. 2 games in a row for elephants. Will this be as successful as it was last game? Workshop there for Dennis. Skirms hit the elephant. And a workshop up for him. And Mangonel's on the way out. Husbandry and scale barding armor for deaKer. Ellie's is the Chad play, the Giga Chad play. I mean, as you say, if it ain't broke. He is up in Villese, so why not go for the elephants? We've been talking all this time about the Fire Lancers. Maybe it's time to show off the Vietnamese are strong, even if they weren't an Fire Lancer civ. Of course, archery range units and Fire Lancers, 20% extra HP. So they do like the Fire Lancers. Let's finish off that coffee. And the Skirms will run from the TC. Yeah, and he did stabilize pretty well. That TC at the front, getting that up without losing too many vills was clutch. As T90 would say, that was very clutch. Did he ever make that clutch emote? That was like one of the earliest emote ideas we had on his channel, like a decade ago. I don't think he ever made it. Lots of other emotes, though. That was crazy. And Monk drops the relic to go put it in the church. He wants a conversion, but he'll go grab it again. The relics should be very well balanced on this map. I put some time in to make sure the relics don't spawn in the corners. They should be very fair. Everything is crazy to T90. Well, he does live in Florida. Why some civs have elephants but no elephant archers? I believe some elephant riders can hold some bows. Well, these elephants don't have anyone riding them. So see, the elephants aren't even there anymore. The Vietnamese have elephants, but they've managed to train the elephants themselves. They haven't taught the elephants how to use a bow. Oh, wait, actually, do the battle elephants have riders, right? It's only the Persian ones that don't? Oh, yeah, good point then, good point then. Maybe the Vietnamese need elephant archers too. Yeah, good question. Obviously, they know how to ride horses. The archers, yeah, they do have a rider. Alright, Vill's picked off by cav archers, but the elephant's out to protect the Vills. If those guys can have a big poking oh my gosh, that cav archer trying to run off the edge of the map. There's nowhere to go, though. He can't escape into the void. A conversion, but the cav archers all will go down. Oh my gosh, deaKer. deaKer wants a castle. He says, I got 24 military to 12. Before you can make too many elephants, I will make a castle. And I will try to raid with Manaspas. Skirms and light cav with a hill bonus against the elephants. The elephants, they have bloodlines, they have 1 armor, they're doing forging. They will go down. That is the definition of a dead end. What was that idea someone had? The out of bounds unit As a civ bonus, he could walk one tile off the edge of the map. Loop around. And so this is what the Georgians are great at doing, stopping mangonel pushes with their churches. This thing's very easy to repair against mangonels. Dennis will try to go for that clandestine TC in the middle of the map, another TC at the top of the hill. But it's time for Manaspa raids, so we're gonna have another game where Dennis is once again booming while deaKer's trying to raid. Feels like this game will be a bit more successful than the last one, even though the raids were great in the last one. Still needs ballistics for the skirms. Elephants are a cheat. They're available. They're available. It is, yeah, once again, a repeat from last game. Raids versus elephants. Castles versus monks. Does that castle make it safe enough to fish boom in the pond? That'd be crazy if we saw that. Oh, more walls going up. He's trying to trap the villager. He needs to wall himself in. Okay, this villain needs to do a gate or something here to block walls. And make sure the Bonaspas can get in. Okay, they do get in. Monk there with another conversion. Oh, and this is a doubt castle from Dennis. He tried to secure the middle of the map, but that will leave all of his TCs exposed. And the Bonaspas can worry about the elephants a bit, but they can run away. They can run away. Castle foundation deleted. And see, Dennis still does have enough stone for another castle, but does he have the villager presence to build it? He only has 7 military and 7 elephants. Yeah, that's good elephant numbers, but nothing else. And they're so slow they can't reach the light cav. They're trying to push the skirms array. Now we have a 21-2 KD. Oh, maybe the knight forward can do something. There's still a cav archer raiding, but that raid isn't of much consequence. And we're gonna have another forward castle from deaKer. Let's go. Castle drop on Dennis's forward TC. Ooh, is this over now? Is this over now? Dennis struggling. He's suffering conversions. He choked off of his resources with that castle securing. There's a little choke point between those forests, but the Vills will run away. Monk killed by the castle. And oh, okay, that's a forward TC from Dennis. Again, where the castles have already dropped him. Ah, I mean, he really wants the gold, I think. This TC will go down eventually. Behind this, deaKer's up to Imp. And maybe it's GG when Dennis sees him hit Imp. Maybe it's GG before that. But these Bonaspas now, they're doing what the Georgians want to do with Bonaspas. Raid the economy. Force the TCs to be idled. Force the Vills to flee. Oh, and Jenny, thank you very much for the sub. Thank you very much. As Dennis will try to get onto the stone.
Let us give the infidel dogs of the West a sight the likes of which no son of Europe has ever seen.
It's time for deaKer maybe to build a wonder to get out of this game. Wonder is that far ahead. And Ratton's killing the knight. Skirm's attacking Vills. And that Vill very low on HP as elephants come around, try to attack the skirms, foraging on the way, and Imp just about to hit for deaKer. Will the GG be after the Imp? Yes, it will. And deaKer, 2-1 over Dennis. Twice in a row he tried elephants. They worked but once. And deaKer will then take a 2-1 lead and win. Oh, and thank you, Robbie, for gifting subs.
With William Wallace and his woad raiders on your side, the English may be in trouble. Once you have a large army with plenty of siege weapons, go. Destroy the English castle.
Oh, yes, thank you for the gift subs. William Wallace approves. Denounce the English. Destroy their castle at Falkirk. And that's 30,000 res collected for deaKer to 24k for Dennis. Behind the fortified churches. He can stay 1 TC for a while with the churches. And thank you, Swede, for the follow. The Georgians actually, I think, are interesting from the perspective of how early did deaKer sell his stone? Yeah, he didn't sell the stone to go up. Oh, but wait. Yeah, he didn't sell the stone. Oh, and thank you. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. The alert took a moment for the follow. Down with the English, down with their outposts. I think that, you see the churches all across the eco here. I think the Georgians are actually a really nice save to play 1 TC if you sell the stone to go up quickly, because you can make up for the difference in eco with the church economy. And that might be a playstyle we see on this map, where you kind of stay 1 TC with the churches for a bit to put pressure on the forward expansion of TCs or castles at the tops of the hills. Try to prevent your opponents from going forward. So we saw that army control from deaKer, basically doing the same thing, trying to raid that TC before Dennis could make it. Do the early castle drop, harass the front of the hill. Dennis is doing much better than I'd expect. Our base had him top 3. Hello, Dave. Let's check that real quick. We got, 112 vills. Everything going very well for deaKer. Even that game he lost had insanely good value with all those Gulam raids. And let's check this out. 2-1 for deaKer. The maps he will win Reverse Acropolis. So both players winning their home maps. And the ill-fated Dark Age transport ship lame attempt did not work out for Dennis on Northern Crossings. So let's see. Let's maybe check out the standings then. There's probably a set I haven't casted, but we'll check it out anyway. You didn't have Stark 9-0? Yeah, Stark's gonna need another bat. And Silver. Oh yeah, Gabby's also playing Cosmonaut tomorrow. That's during Platinum, so I'll probably do the same thing and cast Rex outside of Platinum, so that those get some visibility too. But we will have Group A, Blue and Niaz, 7-2. And did they play already? Yeah, Blue won 2-1 against Niaz, so Blue will hold the tiebreaker there. Antagonist sitting at 6 wins too, so he's right behind them. Oh, Varion, thanks for gifting us up to Dave.
Why did our brilliant leaders insist on building the wonder so close to the shoreline?
And then Group B will have Sam and Aim dominating Group B. Gabby dominating Group C. It did lose to Husiello. And had a very close bypass game that she couldn't finish off as the Turks. How about then Stark, the story of Group D? 9-0. 9-0. Oh, the set I didn't cast was gold, so I didn't even spoil myself by looking at that. Stark is beasting. That Stark versus Bad Koala set, if you didn't see that, that I think is the best set I've seen in all of TTL so far. Those games were crazy. I expect Monos to take some wins off of Lamo. Yeah, Lamo's struggling. More struggling. Everyone at least has a win, though. Everyone at least has a win. That just makes things more difficult for T90. I bet it's, as someone who's had to make tournament payments myself, if your players don't get any wins, then you don't have to pay them. That's one less transaction you have to make. Imagine you need to make a $10 transaction to someone, and then it's completely eaten by transaction fees. Tournament invoicing is so much fun. That's when John Slow asked me to co-host Sudden Disaster, his message was basically, last time I tried to make the payments, my bank killed me. He needed someone to handle the money for him. Is this about the top 100 players? Oh, so between Platinum, Gold, and Silver, there are 72 players. There are probably a couple players in the top 100 plus who didn't sign up or didn't qualify, but yeah, that's probably a good estimate, top 100. Them and the top finishers of Bronze mostly round that out. So that'll be it for us today. Let me make sure I'm caught up on YouTube too. Yeah, Viper will dock that pond in the middle of Reverse Acropolis. Well, we did see Lewis docking the pond on Mudflow today. That was the Dragon Star strategy from last Hidden Cup. I'm hoping more players do that, because I legit think it's a good strategy. We saw lots of docks on Rage Arena when I had added fish to the pond. It's only 2 fish. But Viper plays tomorrow. Was that the set that got rescheduled, our base? Yeah, that's the one that has been postponed. Okay, Viper's still sick. He's been sick for a while. And Voobly Pro. That is a memory. I won Voobly Silver in a tournament once, years ago. I have no idea what it did, but that was my prize. That was the peak of my Age of Empires career there. Okay, so I think that'll be it for us tonight. I might stream in the morning before Platinum, and then I might stream in the evening after Platinum. We'll see what I go for. But anyway, that'll be it for tonight. I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll end on YouTube and raid someone on Twitch. So thank you all for watching, and I'll say goodbye to you.